Hello again. This is Tim Kovar talking to you about how to make photo books. Could be hello for the first time, seeing as I'm sure some people are going to click straight into the Start Your Photo Book. So, what I want to do is work through setting up that first file, multi-page file within InDesign, and I'm going to use as an example the book I'm working on at the moment that's tentatively titled Malfunction. Looking very happy. I've got a few bits put in there, but haven't quite really figured out what I'm doing. This is still in the draft phase, as you can see by my title, Malfunction version 1. Okay, so we'll look at a number of different aspects of creating a multi-page document rather than a single-page document like we've done up to now. All right. So, first thing I'm going to do is show you my job folder. Okay. As I've mentioned, creating a job folder for each project. This is called Malfunction. Inside that I have a photo called Images Malfunction. Each one of those I've created as a TIFF, 300 pixels per inch, Adobe RGB color space. I've said this lots of times, but I'm going to keep saying it. Okay. I'll try not to say K all the time as well. I've also made a folder where I'm going through all my archive stuff, pulling out things, and I'm calling them possibles, and they're in JPEGs, PSD, whatever. So as I think of how I want to combine bits, I go through here and convert them to TIFFs. Now there are more efficient ways of doing it, but this is part of my design process, trying to figure out what I want the book to say. Alright, so those are all going into a folder called Possibles. And then I also have a little folder that I've just started called Reference Material. That's just going to handle some of the text stuff that I've got. Oops, and there's my reference notes, which should be inside that folder. Okay. My InDesign document, starting with my last name, title, and I've got version 01 on there. Now, I'm back in InDesign. I want to make my project folder. Okay, so I will stop saying K. Alright, let's go into here. Let's go to Finder, New Folder. And we'll call this eventually. Oh. Come on. Okay, make a new folder in here. There it is. Sorry, I should have had that window open. We will call it Kovar Malfunction Test. Okay, so everything is going inside there. I go into my InDesign. Notice I've started that folder first. I'm going to make a new document. Now, I've made this document that I'm working on right now is at a size that I just find particularly appropriate because I'm working with different format images. So I'm going to make the width 210 millimeters and the height 210 millimeters. This gives me a square format, allows me to put horizontals and verticals on the page, square images, get to mix things around, but again that's just a personal preference. Okay. Margins, I'm going to set my margins at 20 mils each because I like 20 mils. But what we're going to do for everybody is put our bleed at 3 millimeters. That is a standard size that we need to have the bleed, which is this little red line that you can see off on the edge here, which I've mentioned before is when you run an image off the edge of the page, it actually has to extend beyond the piece of paper. Now, back at the top here, number of pages. How many do I want to start with? Well, a lot of times I just start with 10 because I'm not sure how far this is going to go, but I need a number of pages to start adding things together and see how they work. And very important, you're going to check the facing pages box because everything that we're going to do is going to be designed according to a double page spread. That's the 2 pages that you have facing yourself when you are looking at any book. All right. Now, 10 pages, facing pages, my size, you may want A4, you may want A5, you may want A3, or you may want some other, individual version. Margins to something that is convenient, gives you guidelines for what you want to work with, but the bleed is going to be 3 millimeters. I hit OK, in which case it's allowed for me to say that. Okay. Now, my page number 1 appears, and right below that, I've got my first double page spread. Something we haven't had to talk about because we've only been working on single pages is the Pages palette. And if you don't have that open on screen, you can always go up into one of these, Window and Pages. Make sure that that's checked. All right, and then you can see this Pages palette. Now we'll go through master pages later on, but the first thing you want to notice is that your number 1 page, that's not really your cover. That's probably your page number 1 or your title page. Some people it'll even be blank. Pages 2 and 3 are my first double page spread. Even numbered pages are always on the left, odd numbered pages are always on the right. And what I didn't do, we need to do, is to work in units of 4, multiples of 4 pages, because that is a double page spread, front and back, and that is how a printer is going to run the pieces of paper through their printer. So I probably should go over here and let me change that. So I can go up to File, Document Setup, and instead of 10 pages, let me type 12 pages. So everything that we do, you don't have to go back to the beginning. You can change that through the menus, right? So you want to get used to that, and it should be a lot of toing and froing. So now I've got a really short book, but I have my 12 pages in multiples of 4, and so I can think about how do I want to populate those pages. Okay, so that's setting up the book project, and we'll move on and start filling those pages up with content. See you in a while.